Hi everybody, we are going to get started with Club Q kits for November. The one we're working on now is called Thankful. The powder puff chalking inks we suggest are Mango Mai Tai and the Emerald Forest, but this kit is full of colors. So if you want to add some yellow, we have one that's called Chunky Monkey, that's kind of a bright yellow. We have Desert Sun, that's a little bit darker. Sandstone would look really nice with this. It's kind of a yellowy orange. Blues would work with this because we have blue and the plaid colors here. So you just choose what works for you. We are going to get the cutting out of the way first, like I usually do, so that we can get our trimmer out of the way. So I'm going to move these samples, move in my trimmer, and there's not much to cut in this one. The ones that we are going to cut are the two, I think it's 6x12 pieces of paper, and we are going to cut them both exactly the same, the yellow one and the red one. So I'm just going to actually put them together, and I'm going to cut them both at the same time. One thing that I wanted to show you, you go ahead and pause at any time, punch out your die cuts, get things chalked up. One thing I wanted to show you on the die cuts, if you are punching them out, this piece right here, it looks kind of like a funky, weird center with scraps. These are not scraps. We're actually going to use all these pieces. So hang on to the inside of this and all these little pieces if you are punching out your die cuts. And if I get going too fast at any point, you just hit pause and then turn it back on when it works for you. Okay, so the cutting, we want the yellow and the red piece of paper. We are going to cut a 5x7 and a 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I am going to put this in like this and cut at 7 inches. And we'll do our 5x7s first. Make sure, if you are cutting them together like I am, make sure that they're both lined up. So we'll cut at 7. And then we want these to be 5x7. So turn it this way and cut at 5. And honestly, if you're cutting off this end or this end, whichever, it will still look nice on your page. You don't have to. Most of this is actually going to be covered up, so there's no specific way that you need to have your paper turned to trim this. This is extra. So you end up with the 5x7, 5x7. The pieces that were left over, you want to turn these into a 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to cut at 4 3/4 this way, and I think that might actually already been, I might have done that. Just trim off the end, and then 4 3/4 the other way. And then you have 2. And again, it doesn't matter what prints right here, because once you get pictures in there, it's not even going to show. It'll just show the edge. And that's really all the cutting that we have, other than trimming off your background paper tabs. Get those out of the way. And then your trimmer can be moved out of the way, and we'll get our background papers laid out. So you can use either side of this paper. We actually use the flourish side, but totally up to you. Use either side. Either one will look good. It doesn't show much of it anyway, just little bits of it. The first thing we're going to do, if you want to, you can chalk up the edges of all your triangles that you punched out of your die cuts. I am just going to show you a couple of colors. This is one of our new colors that's coming out for 2024. It's called Dandelion. So I'm going to add that. It's similar to Desert Sun, but different. If you were to compare the two, you can tell there's a difference. This Dandelion is kind of a gold color. I love it. I can't wait for it to come in 2024. Our 2024 Powder Puff Chalking Inks, the set is called The Secret Garden. So everything is named after, I think we have 12 different colors that are named after flowers and things you would find in the garden. We have Spanish moss, we have dragonfly, we have poppy, we have petunia. So some fun colors coming out in 2024, and we will let you know as soon as they are out. Okay, so on page 1 and page 2, we are going to line up our triangles, and you can kind of use your instruction sheet as a guide. I think it's about 1/2 inch from the outside edge. And I get this kind of stuff laid out first before I glue anything down, so that you know where you want it to be. And when I'm doing this, I usually use an adhesive that I can peel back up and move a little bit if I want to. So a lot of times for these kind of things, I use my ATG gun. And this is also up to you on how much space you want to use on the outside. You can move these down even further. You can leave the bigger spots in the middle. I am going to do about 1/4 inch apart between here, which makes it about 1/2 inch from the edge all the way around. Do the same over here. This is an easy way to kind of change out your background paper and add lots of different patterns. Mine might not be totally straight, but you go ahead and pause and get yours into position the way that you want them. And then from here, it really is just layering. The one thing that I want to show you before we get too far is these pieces that I mentioned in the beginning. If you do punch them out, hang on to all of them, because these are actually going to be the tops of your tags. I'm just going to lay them down here for now. This piece has, this is what we'll start with layering. This piece has a green piece that goes behind it. So go ahead and line that up. We use this Barely Art Precision Craft Glue now, and I love it so much. If you've watched my other video from this month, I've already talked about it, but I love it. We finally started carrying it on our website because we use it for everything. Small precision tip. You can also order the little rubber stopper, and I think that's only like $1 on the website, but this glue is amazing. You don't need a lot. It's really skinny tip. I just use like a little streak across here or a little dot here and there. This, go ahead and chalk it up if you want. This I am going to just lay out and then come back later and glue things on. Okay, your first little layer here is going to be, you should have a 5x7 yellow, which I think we actually used this side. You decide which side you like. 5x7 yellow, 5x7 green that came out of your die cut, and a red that came out of a piece that you cut. So that is going to, so the red will go right at the top of your little scallop here. Your photo can go right on top of that. You can make your photo go the other way. We have ours just straight up and down with these fanned out. Totally up to you. This is your project, so you do what works for you. Okay, so now we are going to get page 2 set up a little bit. You should have squares left over. There's 2 yellow squares. The largest yellow square is what goes on page. Actually, let me make sure I tell you this right before you glue anything down. So your green, you have 2 green squares. Those both go here on page 2. Your smaller yellow square goes on, out of the 2 that you have left, your smaller yellow square goes on page 2. Your red square goes on page 2 as well. And then your small green square goes here. And again, arrange these however it works for your pictures. I'm going to get the pieces. So you should have 4 blue frames, all different sizes. Not the one that says thankful, because that's going to be layered over here on page 1. And you want to just layer these. And again, you don't want to glue these completely down until you have your pictures in there, because you could put a little dot of glue and then peel it up and use it later. You can use this circle to trace your picture, to cut out, to put right in the center. I don't have anything glued down yet. You glue as you go if you want to, or you can get it all set up. So each of these squares on page 2 should have a little frame. Just put a little dot of glue so that you don't glue that all the way down. And you decide how you want to place these. Chalk things up as you go as well. I'm not chalking everything, but just because it's a sample and I'm working through it here, but I normally chalk every single piece on my layouts. Okay, so on your page 1, this little yellow piece, you choose the side that you want it on. This is what we are going to layer next. So we have the yellow piece, and then all these die cuts get layered onto the center here. So the red goes down first. And then, I think it's, let me see, I have 2 different yellows here. Yeah. So this one is kind of a peach color, and then you have your yellow. So you want the peach color to go next. Top of that. I need to make sure that I'm getting this correct before. Oh, the white one starts. Okay, hang on. So you start with the white. There we go. Start with the white. Then the red. There we go. That's why it wasn't looking quite right. Am I getting this right? Oh. white, then the red. Sorry about that. So Patsy designed this one. I actually didn't design this one. I'm still getting the hang of it. And then your peach color, and then your yellow. And remember to chalk these up if you'd like to. And then your green. Nope. Nope. So maybe don't do this until you see how mine turns out. Let's see, green, then yellow, then blue over the top of that. So we'll go over that again. So you have blue on top. Next is the brighter yellow right behind that. So you could glue the blue to the yellow. And then take that to the green. That goes on, the green goes on to the peach color. Then the peach color goes on to the red. And then it goes on to your last little piece, which is the white. It looks so beautiful when it's done. And if it's done right, I messed up to begin with. And you have your layers. So the only other thing we have here is when you go to glue these down, this is meant to kind of look like a pocket. So you have two little tags that are going to be kind of fake tags up there. They get tucked in behind there. There is a button to go on each one of those. And they come in a little bag like this. So there's two small buttons. There is two of these guys. One kind of goes out here so it looks like a tag coming out the side. One goes up here, add some color, looks like a tag. And then, and really you can use any of these circles that are left over just to add some color somewhere, maybe out the side if you want to. But one of these actually gets tucked in behind here to make it look like a tag. And your big button goes right there. So once you get pictures in your little frames and stuff, go ahead and glue that down to your page and you are done. That is a super simple page, but I love it because it feels like there's a lot to it with all the different colors and the layers. I hope you got your layers right. Push pause, go back through. And if you didn't, it's all yours. Nobody will ever know. Hope you enjoyed November Club Q, and thank you so much for being a member. See you next time.